Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Why Teacher. Today we are looking at analysis in the Bloom's taxonomy, so let's get to it. So understanding has basically got to do with your knowledge, and if you have knowledge on the topic, then it's time that children start to make judgments about their knowledge. So analysis is really a child's understanding of what he has understood and his evaluation of his understanding of the concept. Analysis is a far more complex process, and I think that as teachers, it's important to streamline for children the various methods and the different kinds of strategies that we can employ to simplify the process of analysis. All right. So let's first understand that analysis needs to be made fun for children. If it is done in a very complex manner, children tend to feel, incapable of doing it, and that demotivates the child through the process. So equipping the child with the skills to analyze is the first and foremost, job for a teacher to do. And after that, understanding the nature of analysis. For example, an analysis can be descriptive. Maybe if you're reading something, you want to understand what is happening in the story. It moves on to then something called diagnostic, analysis, where you want to know why something is happening. A character in a story reacts in a certain way, and you want to understand why that character is behaving in such a manner would be something like a diagnostic analysis. From diagnostic analysis, after you've understood why the character is behaving a certain way, you would move towards predictive analysis, where you would ask questions that are going to probe the child to think what they think will happen next with the character or in the story. And then, of course, it moves on to what we call prescriptive analysis, where, the children try to find a solution for the problem. Prescriptive might not work in literature, but it definitely would work in science and scientific laws, where children are supposed to, find solution for that specific question. So helping children understand the nature of analysis is going to also help them understand, how analysis needs to be done. Now, analysis and developing an analytical mind has a lot to do with reading, and reading every single day. Children who read with a purpose have a far more analytical mind than children who read aimlessly or are pushed to read every day. A practice that is being used in schools often now. They think that the quantity of reading that children are going to do is going to help them become more analytical. Yes, reading on a daily basis is a habit that needs to be developed, but reading without purpose is never going to serve any child any benefit. So it's important for teachers and parents to start, providing children with a purpose to read. So setting up an objective to your reading before the reading session is important. Whether you're reading to dig for details, whether you're reading to analyze a certain character, whether you're reading to understand the choice of words that the author has engaged, are good reasons to read. So children are, learning the skills to, summarize. Children are learning the skills to extract the main idea, and based on details and evidence that support that idea, they are learning to differentiate between fact and opinion. They are learning to draw intelligent conclusions. They're learning to compare and contrast elements in a story. All of these skills require a purpose. So setting up a purpose for reading is integral to having an analytical mind. Another important skill to make your child analytical is to develop their vocabulary. Word-building activities really help children understand the text and interpret information better. So it's important for you to teach your children that while they are reading, they do need to highlight words that they've not understood. Often children, in their laziness, ignore the word, move on, and some of them become used to using a dictionary. But for analytical minds, it's important to understand what the text is all about. The fact that the clues lie within the text that they're reading is an important skill to, for children to develop. So engaging context clues is key to becoming an analytical reader. So teach your children to read through the text with an analytical mind, ask them to engage strategies such as retelling, where they get into the habit of reading a paragraph. They should stop at that point. They should go back and retell the events and question themselves as to whether they have understood that or not, and if they've not, then what is the area that they need to investigate. Then finding the clues within the text to solve the meanings of words is something that is going to help them become more critical in their thinking skills. Now, when we're on the topic of words, I cannot but forget the importance of analogies. Now, an analogy is a comparison of an idea or a thing with something that is very different from it. But we use analogies to create some kind of familiarity to unfamiliar objects. For example, like metaphors and similes are tools tools to draw an analogy. If you talk about verbal analogies, then it is a relationship of words. The relationship between words based on them being synonyms, antonyms, based on them having a cause and effect relationship, or simply falling into certain categories or steps of a process. So there are many activities on the net, and if you type into Google, practicing verbal analogies, you'll get many different tests and exercises for children to practice at various levels. So, I mean, and all the analysis in the world has to do with words and written text. And so words are integral to your analytical mind. And that's why we say the more you read, the more you, engage strategies, the more you understand words, of course, you're going to become more and more critical in your thinking. All right, let's sum it up now. To become analytical or to improve your analysis, you need to read every day. But not just that, learn to listen carefully, because when you listen, you learn new words. So listen to audiobooks, listen to podcasts, listen to intelligent conversations. Have people with diverse backgrounds around you, people with different opinions around you. It's going to make you more critical of how people think in the world. Play lots of brain games like Scrabble, backgammon, Risk. These are all games that are going to teach you how to strategize. Keep a journal, and when you are in conversation with somebody, if you're reading a book, if you're watching a television serial, if you're watching a movie, pick up words that you have learned and make a new diary of words for yourself. Practice analogies. Like I said, without words there is no analysis. Join a book club. That is going to introduce you to different perspectives and people. I always tell teachers that when you are going forward towards asking your children to write a story or do a written composition, always get them to converse with each other first, because conversation always generates words and vocabulary, and children learn from each other. Ask questions, because without asking questions you will reach no conclusions. Asking questions is important. Do not feel ashamed, and be observant. Be observant of how people talk, how people reflect on different topics that you are thinking about, and be open to new ideas. I think being critical is not about the text alone. Being critical also requires a certain character quality, and that character quality has to be of a learner, of somebody who's ready to make mistakes and learn from their mistakes, and be ready to be better every day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week we come back with evaluation, and if you've liked my video, I would like you to give me a thumbs up. Please like, subscribe and share these videos. I do look forward to your feedback, and I received a comment last time on my last video saying anger management was something they wanted to look at. I've definitely noted it down, and I'll be coming back with a new video after the Bloom's Taxonomy episodes are over. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Allah Hafiz.